Hi, everybody, and welcome to Or Something. It's the podcast where each week we talk about the origins of things or something. It's not very accurate, but it's always funny, so we're glad that you joined us. I'm Kristen, and this is Karla.
Hi.
And yeah, we're here. Oh man, that's going to start sticking. I'm going to start saying that every time. We're here, guys.
Well, they have to know.
Yeah. Are we?
Look.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, friend.
Okay, we're going to talk about it. We have to do it. I'm highly embarrassed to be Canadian. I don't care if it was cheeky, meant to be like totally funny, but this Justin Bieber mashup with Tim Hortons is I can't. I hate it.
What is it that he said? Okay, what did I send to you? I forgot what it even was.
What is it?
Oh, yeah.
Tim Biebs?
Tim Biebs.
Who thought of that?
Okay, so for people who aren't Canadian and don't know, Tim Hortons is like a little restaurant, kind of like coffee shop that we have here, but it's like a massive chain.
And it's actually American owned now.
And now it's American owned, just like everything in Canada, like all our major companies that we think are like part of our culture are now owned by Americans.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole different tangent I could go on, but but Tim Hortons is like our place. We always go for Timmy's. We get coffee there. Some people hate it and they're like, it's terrible. Some people love it. We are a big Tim Hortons family.
Better.
It used to be much better.
They did fresh donuts. Now it's all like just frozen.
I mean, it's how everything goes, right? It's big. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of Canadians see it as like a very Canadian thing. Like it's our thing. It's something that defines us. It's, whatever.
And even though it's Tim Hortons, most of us say Timmy's.
Yeah. And they have little like donut hole type things called Timbits. And they're delicious.
They're wonderful.
They're the best. You can just go buy a box of Timbits, like 20 Timbits or 10 Timbits.
And if you eat 20, you don't realize that each Timbit is usually like 100 calories. I found this out way later.
I know.
So don't eat 20 Timbits all in one go.
Or do it and not care.
Or do it, yeah.
Anyway, so I saw this post yesterday that Justin Bieber, who is Canadian, has these like Timbits. They're called Tim Biebs. And it's like the branding, the box and everything is branded that way and everything. And I sent it to Karla and she's like, I can't even talk about this right now. We need to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I want to have a sense of humor about it. The flavors sound okay. Like sour cream, chocolate chip, and then like a white fudge something or other. Something else. Although they didn't even do like a maple flavor. Some people were commenting on the articles. They were like, why not a maple? Like a really truly Canadian.
Like make it really Canadian.
Yeah, really go with the stereotypical kind of thing, right? Yeah. But whatever. But
they have one that tastes like a hockey puck.
Cork.
Yeah, exactly.
Hawk ale corks.
Hawk ale. Tasty.
But like, I think what the name bothers me the most. Tim Biebs.
Tim Biebs.
What are they called? Tim Biebs?
I kind of like it. I think it's
But somebody
funny.
said, why not Bieber Bits? That's kind of cute.
Because Bieber Bits? No.
All right. So Kristen loves Tim Biebs and
Justin Bits.
No.
See, none of it works except for Tim Biebs.
No,
even that. I don't know. It feels odd. I'm conflicted.
Me too. Total side note. We were talking about fertility statues last time, I think.
Yeah.
And I completely drew a blank of like what that famous.
It's the lady of something.
I love your confidence. But
and
no.
It's not. Oh, damn it.
No, you're close. It's just I love that confidence. You were adamant. It's actually it's the Venus of Willendorf.
Oh, Willendorf. I knew it was a W something. Damn it.
And I actually thought Venus when we were talking about it, but then that's where my brain stopped.
I obviously didn't.
That's okay.
You were close. Something. Was I? That's very kind of you.
It's true. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, man. That's cool. So what's happening? What's the haps? What do you have going on?
I sorted out like Christmas lights for about a whole day. Almost got hypothermia outside. It's really nice outside for Alberta, but because we have like a mishmash of Christmas light colors, so I sorted them all. They were all lit all on the lawn, so the grass was covered in Christmas lights. And
Nice.
yeah, most of them don't match, so I want to shoot myself. And
I'm gonna pull up all the Christmas stuff. I think this weekend I'm gonna do it from my downstairs storage and set the Christmas tree up. Yeah,
I want a new Christmas tree really badly, but they're all so
I kind of want a real Christmas
ugly.
tree.
Me
I just
too.
love the smell.
I know, but then I think like, will I get sap all over me, or will I bring a squirrel into the house?
Where are you getting your trees from? Don't go and cut down one from like your backyard.
Look, farmed trees can have sap on them.
No, yes, sap,
And
fine,
squirrels.
but there's not going to be a squirrel in it.
Look, knowing my luck,
Unless you want one. I mean, you could catch one if you wanted.
knowing my luck, I'd have like the most pine beetle tree, and I'd like bring invasive species into the. How's it going with you?
Good. I was trying to think of like if I had a funny story from volunteering this week at the animal sanctuary. But I think it was just that the pigs were so cute because they were chowing down hard on pumpkins. Because the day after Halloween, like all of the grocery stores are like will give away their pumpkins for free quite often.
Yeah.
So they did a massive thing and just gathered up all the pumpkins they could get for all the animals. And you can just like throw a pumpkin into the area where the donkey and the pigs are, and they just go. It is like crack cocaine for them. It's so funny.
How many pigs are currently concussed because
None, I swear.
Okay,
I didn't throw any on their heads.
Okay, thank goodness.
But there was one pig, his name's Bebop, and
I thought you were going to say Biebs. I'm like, oh, hell no.
his name's Tim Biebs.
Wait. Bebop?
Yeah, Bebop.
Like Rocksteady? Bebop and Rocksteady? The Ninja Turtle
yeah, I
things?
guess so. I don't know if that's originally where it came from or not.
It better be.
It might be.
Better be.
Ninja Turtles. I'd be surprised. I don't know.
Continue about Bebop.
So Bebop was like chowing down hard on this pumpkin and had like bits of pumpkin all on his snout and was like just smacking his lips like so loud. And I was like, wow, that is why. Like, it was the epitome of why we call people who are like messy or eat like pigs, like we call them, like, don't be a pig, right? It's because they literally are just these disgusting things, but like in a funny way, in a cute way.
Yeah.
But so these other volunteers were like down at the other end there was another pig there, a big pig, like a massive one. And Bebop's kind of like an in-between. He's not huge.
Okay.
And so these volunteers, they threw in a pumpkin for that big pig, Garth, like at the other end. And Bebop like heard the pumpkin land and ran. I have never seen an animal move that fast. And ran and like bullied his way into that to get that pumpkin. Now he had still basically a whole pumpkin left for him, like in the spot that I was in with him. And he's like, no, I've got to get that. And Garth, this massive pig, is not getting any of it. So this little Bebop goes in there and muscles his way. And like Garth, like, and he's like getting aggressive with it. It was so funny. I was like, what is wrong with you?
Oh my gosh. Aww.
So that was pretty cute. That was kind of the cuteness for me. He did. He really liked it. It was like crack to him.
Tenacious.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, that's one word for it.
Don't call him a piggy. It's racist.
I was just going to ask I wonder if they have racism in animal things. I'm like, why do you ask these questions? Let's not.
Well, because it's us.
Thing.
If you didn't, I don't know, I'd be concerned. I'm concerned anyway, but.
Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Who goes first this week? Who went first last week? I think I went first last week, didn't I?
Yeah, you went first. So
okay.
I go. Okay.
Your turn.
I tried something
what's it gonna
new.
be? Oh.
I actually wrote everything out.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry, it's a lot of reading, but I tried to be super prepared this time.
Wow.
Also, I don't know if I have to split this up into 2 parts. Yikes.
Whoa. Just do it.
I know. Okay, I'll try my best.
Go
if I'm
for
too
it.
fast,
I believe
just yell
in
at
you.
me.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh, this is my favorite part, by the way. I get so excited about what is she doing this week. It's like crazy.
I think you'll really like it, but also
Okay.
really hate it.
Excellent.
Okay. Today I'll be talking about Barbara Millicent Roberts.
What?
She's 62 years old. Among
Okay.
many things, Barbara, like her jobs, she's been a ballroom dancer, a golfer, a cat burglar, a
What?
business executive, a photographer, a pilot, firefighter, dentist, art teacher, and even a mermaid. Today we're talking
What?
about Barbie.
No way! Oh my gosh! Yes!
The Barbie doll by Mattel.
Oh my gosh. Tell me everything. Oh my god. I love Barbie so much. And
Yeah.
I get the whole whatever body positivity crap. I don't care. I love Barbie. I played with Barbie so much when I
Yes.
was a kid. I've played with
Oh,
Barbies
yeah.
as an adult. Like I love Barbies.
Yeah. I will covet Barbies to the end of time.
Yeah.
However, after this research,
Oh no.
I absolutely can't stand Mattel.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's brutal.
Okay.
Okay, brace yourself.
Oh god. And when
Okay.
you were okay, so what's her full name?
That's why I think this should be a 2-parter, because this is too funny.
Oh my god, I love it.
Barbara Millicent Roberts.
No, why does she
Yeah.
have a full name? Oh my god,
I
I
know.
love that. When you were
Yeah.
first describing her, I was like, oh my god, I want to be that person. Also, I have so many things to say, but like, how is Barbie a cat burglar? When did that happen?
That's why I included it, because I don't
my
remember
God.
that either.
I don't
I'm
remember
like,
that.
What? There's a whole
I
list
want
of
that
Barbie
one.
careers. If you just Google like Barbie careers, it's like I think a wiki or something, and it lists
my
so
gosh.
many things, like so many. I'm like, obviously, but like cat burglar, just I'm like, yep.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay.
Okay, I'll start with Mattel. Mattel, it's the toy company. Founded in 1945 in the U.S. by Harold Matson, Ruth Handler, and her husband, Elliot Handler. Matson drops out, but they have their first hit toy in 1947. I think it was a ukulele. Can't quite remember.
Okay.
They had various like toys in the 40s and early 50s, and they were like majorly into TV advertising. So they actually sponsored like what's that show called? The Mickey Mouse Club. And
Oh, okay.
so they were like on it, right?
Okay.
Barbie debuted March 9th, 1959. So where did the idea of Barbie come from? Who designed her? That's what I wanted to know, right?
1959.
1959.
That's actually a bit later than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, me too. I know.
Yeah. Huh.
So, okay, so I was really bummed out to see that this story, the history of Barbie, has been explored by like a ton of high-profile websites. There's books on it and everything. So,
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I'm the only person in the world who doesn't know this story.
I also don't know. So it's,
Okay,
it's all
good. So at least you and I will have a good conversation here. Okay. Okay, according to Mattel and Ruth Handler, Ruth was inspired by watching her daughter play with paper dolls. The paper dolls were renditions of young career women that could be dressed up. Handler said, "Wouldn't it be great if we could take that play pattern and three-dimensionalize it so little girls could do their dreaming and role-playing with real dolls and real clothes instead of the flimsy paper or cardboard ones?" So that was the origin in her mind.
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
When she presented the idea to Mattel, none of the men, because I think pretty much everybody in Mattel were men.
Yeah.
She was the top, like the,
Right. But because
know
it was
her
her
exact
and her
title, but-
husband, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah. And these other guys, they didn't go for it. They thought it was just too scandalous. They're like, no.
Oh my
Because the
god.
only dolls on the market at the time were like a sissy doll, where you could dress her and stuff, but she, I think, had like a more babyish, kid-like head.
Okay,
Kind
yeah.
of oversized and just like, yeah. And then the classic traditional doll. Like,
Yeah.
That you can imagine, right? In 1956, the Handlers, with their daughter and son, went on a European vacation. And in Lucerne, Ruth and her 15-year-old daughter Barbara spotted an 11.5-inch fashion doll in a shop window.
Ooh.
Ruth
Oh my God, her daughter's name is Barbara.
Right? That's not a coincidence. She named her daughter after. You're 15. You get a name now.
Jane before. Now you're Barbara.
At the end of this, I think maybe that'll be true. We'll find out. Okay, so Ruth was just gripped by this doll, right? She's like, this is the embodiment of the adult-looking doll that she was looking for, and she brought a few of the dolls home with her. She worked on some prototype sketches. She got the copyright and trademark for the name Barbie in 1958, and by 1959, Barbie was ready for the market.
Okay.
But why did Mattel suddenly go for this doll, right?
Yeah.
Because before they were like, before her vacation, they were like, no.
Nefarious. Okay.
So here's where there's a lot of coverage. There's a book that deals with, a large part of the book deals with this, I guess, feud that I'm going to get into.
Okay.
The book is by, I think, Jerry Oppenheimer. It's called Toy Monster. And it details a lot of stuff about Mattel's history. So here, we'll just call it the mother of Barbie versus the father of Barbie. That's what a lot of people call it.
Okay.
So a new design chief at Mattel, Jack Ryan, saw the potential of the Barbie doll. And so he kind of was like, yeah, let's do this, right? With Ruth Handler. About Jack Ryan himself, he was apparently a total Lothario Casanova guy, and he was diagnosed at some point with hypersexuality.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
One person said, when Jack talked about creating Barbie, he would light up and describe the breasts and the legs. It was almost like listening to a sexual pervert talk about creating this doll.
Oh, no.
Ryan had previously been...
It's like all my childhood dreams just are shattering before you. Oh my God. Gross. Oh.
Ryan had previously been in missile construction, super, high-tech engineering kind of stuff. But he freelanced in toy engineering.
Oh my God.
His business sense, apparently, led to the outsourcing of Barbie's production to a company in Japan. The doll would be cheap, so kids could buy the doll, but they made a lot of the money off of accessories for Barbie, clothing and all her accessories and that kind of thing, right? Jack Ryan claims the name Barbara was named after both his wife and Ruth's daughter.
Oh, so he just steals the thing? Isn't he just the go? Oh, okay, maybe not. I just don't like him. That's why I'm gonna rag on him the whole time.
Also, there's a quote here: all U.S. patents related to Barbie are in Ryan's name.
What?
Most notably, the twist and turn body.
Oh
so, very long story short, Ruth was not having it with this Jack Ryan as father of the Barbie, as co-creator of the Barbie. She was like, no.
Okay, good. Yeah, because it was her idea. She just needed somebody to actually, from Mattel, to actually say,
it's interesting that that's your take on it. Because every article, she was ruthless and basically tried to sweep Jack Ryan's contributions under the rug completely. All of them. The only thing that Mattel ever
what
gives...
men want to do to women at all times throughout all of history, including currently
so there's
right now.
a good debate here.
Give me a...
Yeah. But she...
Oh, no. Even if she was, who cares? Why are women not allowed to be like that? Men are like that all the time.
Yeah.
You got to get shit done.
It gets
okay.
even more gray.
I'm going to... Okay. I'm very invested in this topic.
Yeah. Mattel still only barely acknowledges the twist and turn engineering by Jack. There were lawsuits, and Ryan, it seems like I don't know what led to it, but the end of the paragraph was Ryan eventually committed suicide. I don't think it was because of this whole thing. I'm sure there were other
that would be kind of surprising
factors. Yeah. But it didn't end well, basically, for him. Ruth said, I was the creator of the Barbie doll. Jack Ryan, he managed some of the design work.
Okay.
Right. But what about the doll she found in Europe?
Yeah, right? That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, so...
Did they change it enough from those?
Oh, that's the thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll let you
Mattel
get
can
to
say that the original German doll, it was German, that Ruth Handler found in Lucerne, was just an inspiration for Barbie. And that there are actually certain technical differences between the two dolls, right?
Okay.
So, for example, Barbie's hair, it's like plugs, I guess, like not glued on hair.
Right.
I think the bodies are slightly different. But the two dolls look so similar.
No.
That if you saw pictures, if you just Google this German, I'll give you all the information about that doll. But if you compare the two, like vintage Barbie and vintage doll,
fashion doll or whatever,
they're the same. There is hardly any difference. And
oh my gosh! So what did? Okay, so here's my argument with that is what the hell did that Jack Ryan guy then do at all? Really?
Right? Because apparently Ruth.
I mean, if she stole it, well, fine. But like, if they changed just a few little minor things,
well, apparently she sent the doll to the Japanese company, right?
Okay.
Because they were the ones who could work in like the kind of plastic that they were looking for, right? And she said that she kind of almost made it sound like, oh, well, they changed a little bit. Everyone kind of agreed like it wasn't changed enough, sort of. Even she didn't have much of a defense for that. So it sounded like they put the onus on the Japanese toy producers. I'm like,
which is crazy because like that, I would assume you would do up whatever design and you would give it to them. They're just manufacturing it for you. They're not creating it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Way to pass the buck, Ruth.
Okay, so let's talk about this German doll.
Okay.
Her name was Lily, or specifically Bild Lily. I'm trying to say it properly like German. It's B-I-L-D.
Okay.
Lily. But when I do the little translation thing, it's very much like built, kind of like a T sound.
Yeah, they
almost.
do a T sound for it's the same in
Okay.
Same in Dutch.
In 1952, Reinhard Tian, it's a very strange last name, I couldn't figure it out, was commissioned to create a filler cartoon for this kind of like trashy German tabloid newspaper. An article dropped out or something. So he just created this like, after some tinkering, he had some failures that the editors were like, no. He created this like sassy, sexy, ponytailed blonde bombshell. And I don't know what the first comic was, but it was very like, she's like this gold digger and exhibitionist and super just like pin up. Not for kids. It's not a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
And yeah, her name was Lily or Bild Lily. I don't know if they called her Bild Lily. But yeah. So it was this like really sexy, sassy kind of comic. And it was a hit instantly. So they were like, let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing this cartoon. So eventually the paper decided to cash in by making a novelty doll that was initially marketed to men. So the doll, they would like, men would hang her from their rear view mirrors, or they'd gift them to their like wives or girlfriends as kind of like a sexy little joke doll. Yeah. So the newspaper, well, I guess it was that Boutian guy or Baitian. Gosh, he has the hardest name. He contacted toy maker Max Weisbrot of the toy company O&M Hauser. I think it's Hauser. I'm not sure. Okay. The doll was launched August 12th, 1955. She was called Bild Lily. She had long legs, a thin waist, and perky breasts. So we have a doll that's very much like the girl in the cartoon, total bombshell, classic like little fashion model.
Yeah.
Figure. Basically Barbie, tiny waist, classic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it's like it was created based on that character. Like it's a whole different thing that already existed that they just stole.
Yeah.
Barbie. She didn't steal herself, but come on.
Barbie. What did you do? So, Built Lily quickly became popular among children because the company, I guess the toy makers, I'm not sure. Actually, a bunch of other toy companies, they all cashed in on this popular doll. So they started making doll houses, furniture, clothing, and accessories. So kids were just like, so you could buy the original doll. And then as they produced more, she had different outfits. So they kind of, sort of, it sounds like invented
Barbie. Basically.
Yeah.
They had accessories and everything. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the same doll in different outfits, right? That's exactly Barbie.
That's exactly the same concept.
Yeah. Lily was sold in Italy, Scandinavia, England, and even the United States as just Lily or as Lily Marlene. She was marketed for a short time to girls in the United States.
Okay.
There were bootlegs and knockoffs all over the world. For example, the knockoff Miss Marlene in the U.S. This was in the 1950s. So it wasn't unheard of in the States. I want that to be very clear.
They existed.
Yes. And it wasn't necessarily the most popular toy, obviously, right?
Right.
But is someone really going to tell me that Mattel, which was at this time was already known as a huge toy giant, huge, powerful, even in Germany, they knew
They
that.
had to have been aware.
Yeah.
That this existed.
Exactly. Right? So I'm like, okay. So after Barbie hit the market, Mattel began a hostile takeover, and by 1961, Built Lily was wiped from history. Or as one person called it, she became a historical footnote. By the way, historical footnote would have been a great name for this podcast.
Oh, damn it.
Too late. Just quickly, let's talk about Rolf Hauser. So that Tian guy was struggling to find someone who could create a Lily doll. He finally found Rolf Hauser. He was the new head of along with his brother, of his dad and uncle's successful toy company, O&M Hauser. Rolf loved the idea and put his chief designer, Max Weisbrot, on it. The doll came out perfectly. They got so many orders, they were overwhelmed. People all over Europe were ordering custom dolls. One doll actually, this lady wanted her Lily to be just wearing mink, like a little mini mink fur coat.
Oh my gosh.
Rolf was so proud of the doll and the design. She had flexible legs. She had really beautiful hair. He's like, she's never going to have a bad hair day.
Until some little kid comes along and cuts it. I did that to all
her
my
legs
Barbies.
bent at the hip, so she sat with her legs together.
Oh.
And apart from, old timey dolls, they usually splay their legs out when you sat them down. Yeah. So he says he had no idea that Ruth was making Barbie, and even when he was approached by Mattel to negotiate some kind of the takeover crap, right?
Yep.
He had no clue how popular Barbie became. He says that he finally saw Barbie in Europe in around 1963 and also 1964 at a toy fair. First in 1963 in a toy shop. This doesn't quite add up with the timeline. So I don't know why in the article it said 63 and 64, because the lawsuit between Hauser and Mattel over copyright infringements and that kind of thing happened in 1961.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a weird discrepancy there. I don't quite know. It could just be a misunderstanding on my part, but anyway, so Rolf flipped when he saw Barbie. He wanted to sue Mattel, but his brother, who knew Mattel was huge, advised against it. He said it would ruin us if we sue Mattel.
Oh my God.
Hauser was pressured to sell the doll's patent.
Oh.
He said he asked for a translator during the negotiations because they didn't even have one. The contract was in English, right? He didn't know English.
Oh my gosh.
So they sat there all day long. The translator was like, I need to go home. Can I just say how much I love this tenacious translator? It's 5 o'clock. I need to go.
I'm out of here. Ich bin out of here.
People would never do that here. We're so obsessed with work that we would sit there like idiots, call home and be like, sorry.
It's done. We have to finish it today. Like, why?
Yeah, I know. They'd be there till midnight.
Yeah, these guys are screwed whether it happens today or tomorrow.
So he was refusing to sign, but finally time was running out. He had 10 minutes left with the translator. So instead of getting the 1% of sales profits he was looking for, he took a lump sum which wasn't really a lot at all. O&M Hauser quickly went bankrupt and Hauser went into debt. He lived off of his wealthy wife, so let's not feel too bad about that. But he was bitter the rest of his life about this whole thing.
I'm bitter for him.
Yeah.
And for the guy that did the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He was 90 at the time of one article that I read, so I'm not sure if he's still alive or not. So, but important to note here, it was in an article, someone made a good point that Hauser may have just been a terrible businessman, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, just do your research or something. But at the time, how do you get that information in the 60s?
It's so hard, though, and I kind of think, like, part of it now is, like, you have a great idea and it's something that you didn't realize that people even wanted, and then it's taking off and you're excited and you're like, this is so great, this could be really cool, and you're proud of it, and then all of a sudden, like, the logistics come in and other people come into it and the business world comes into it, and it's all about capitalism and who can make the most money and who can bully the most people. But they were selling them all
over the world.
Yeah. But it's still like...
he makes it sound like, I was just he said, I was just a German toy maker without any power. And I imagine, he was bullied by Mattel.
But I would imagine compared to Mattel, or compared to maybe he wasn't like a businessman at heart, right? Like maybe he wasn't looking to create some big like toy empire, right? So if you're coming at things from a different perspective...
express remorse that he let his dad's toy company fall into ruins.
Aww.
So, maybe he just wasn't...
Maybe he just
cut out for it, or he really was just bullied by Mattel. But here's
it's hard, and it's hard knowing like what the future is going to be, right?
Well, here's an important thing too. At the time, if you remember, it's like the 60s, early 60s, 50s, right? German toy makers before the war were the dominant force in toy making. There's like famous teddy bears. They were made in Germany.
Teddy Ruxpin. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, Teddy Ruxpin. He was originally a spy bear.
Oh my God.
But after the war, American toy companies quickly cashed in on anti-German sentiment. So that could have been a huge...
Shoot.
Yeah, so I found this later at the end of my research. Louis Marks and Company, I think... it said they had a licensing deal with Hauser for Lily head molds in 1961. So the Marks Company and Hauser sued Mattel for infringing on Lily. The lawsuit was unsuccessful, and Hauser said the copyright and patents of Lily... Sorry, he sold the copyright and patents of Lily to Mattel in 1964. So again, the legal stuff at the end is a little muddled for me. I couldn't quite, make it fit.
Right.
Of like which toy company bought who and blah, 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 who had this and who had that.
But at the end of the day, Mattel won, basically.
Yeah.
Mattel got the rights to do whatever they needed to do. That's
Mattel
crazy.
has been in legal trouble quite a bit. They've had like quite a few lawsuits, like the famous ones like the Barbie versus Bratz dolls or whatever those things are. But she also, I think was...
What were they doing with Bratz dolls? Was Mattel suing Bratz?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Why?
because they didn't want... Because it was too Barbie-like, I guess.
It's so not. It's like the worst thing ever.
I remember that when it was happening.
I remember that when they came out, I was like, ooh, who would want to play with this? It's two different things.
But yeah. There's, I think, some
ironic.
fraud happening as well. Financial fraud. So there's a lot of like legal stuff. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, with Ruth Handler at the helm.
Shoot.
During her time.
Okay.
So it's not this peachy, like, I'm just a woman trying to make a big kind of story. It's very quickly, no, it's going to be my way. I'm the only one who created Barbie. Yeah. I'm like, I am not siding with her either.
Okay, yeah.
This is why I hate business.
Damn it, I feel like this was a bit of a setup.
Yeah.
I was really on her side at first against Jack Ryan.
This is my summary. A German pervert, an American pervert, and a shady businesswoman.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they made Barbie, basically.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Now I feel gross.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry, I tried to get through that like in time, but...
That wasn't even that long. That was
good.
So awesome. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy,
my
right?
mind is blown. I can't believe that existed. Now I really want one of those Lily dolls, like built Lily.
Me too. Because even though,
my God.
you know, her history and like, yeah, it's just, it feels, I don't know, it just sounds more fun. Like they really were like, you know what, let's just have fun with this. Let's make a doll. Oh, kids like it. Let's do this.
And it makes way more freaking sense for the way that her body is shaped. Like all of those body things that it came from, that it was an adult cartoon and that it was originally like an adult kind of like toy, like not really toy, but like figurine novelty type thing. Yeah. That makes... like the second you said that, I was like, that makes total sense. I get that now.
They did have fashion dolls back in Europe at the time, where women could go to clothing stores and see what the outfit would look like. So they apparently had these little dolls.
Why would they need to be? Don't they have mannequins?
Why would you need to be a little doll? I don't know.
Seems like a lot of extra
little
work.
Mini catalog. It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how did that work? So it's not. So the women in Europe were kind of like used to these little dolls, but
okay.
But it sounds like Lily was like,
oh my gosh,
yeah, the classic little blonde bombshell, right? Yeah.
That is unreal. Because
I should have let you react more. I just blasted through that. Where I'm
I was just in awe as you were talking. I'm like, tell me everything. That was awesome. I almost don't even want to do mine now. It's so boring compared to yours. Whoa.
I know, and it's like there was so much. There are like I said, there's tons of information and tons of articles out there. If people want to know more about. Like the details between the Ruth Handler versus Jack Ryan stuff, or
oh my gosh, I feel like I'm sure there's a ton out there about all that.
Yeah, and even just Mattel's entire like legal history, like all their troubles, and like so. Crazy.
Yeah. Well,
and Mattel,
done. That was awesome.
Yeah, they're just. No, we're fine. We're good. We invented Barbie. I'm like, okay.
Damn it. I feel kind of guilty now about all the Barbies I have owned and have. I still have that box of Barbies.
You have to show me Scottish Barbie later. Remember the beautiful Scottish one with the gorgeous red hair? I can't.
She's
I'm
so
still
beautiful.
Gonna look at
I know.
you. Oh, everybody. I'm saying this now because I just love the design of Barbie. I always will. They have a retro, like 3 retro 80s Barbies out now.
No way.
And the aerobics one is so pretty and so perfect.
Gosh. Oh,
so yeah.
I need to go to a good old fashioned toy store and like walk down the Barbie aisle and just like
I know.
stare
I
at
just
them
go onto
all.
their website because I don't really buy them at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this, and then it's like
I just
dead
love
inside.
when I was a kid. That was like the thing. Like I remember once my mom, I can't remember what it was for, if it was for my birthday or for something, some kind of reward, but she was like, you can pick one Barbie that you want. And oh my gosh, I was watching all the commercials, going through all the catalogs, like, and I'd narrowed stuff down. And I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. I got a lot of like the knockoff Barbies that that didn't quite fit properly into the clothes and whatever, right? Like
the full rubber bodies that could like completely bend.
Totally. Or sometimes I even had a couple that were like the hollow bodies where you're like, oh, this is not the same thing.
Or they're kind of like 13 inches or 14 inches,
they're like
a little bit too tall.
Yeah, they're like way bigger than all the other ones. And you're like, oh, here's my giant. And you have to like come around like up with a storyline that has like a big giant in it. But so I remember that like it was, I almost was agonizing over like, how do I pick which one I want?
That would be insane.
It was so hard because I only got one. And I was like, oh.
And with a budget too, right? So you probably couldn't have like the holiday fantasy.
Oh, no, of course not.
Or like the roller skating one with 3 different outfits.
Yeah, so I had to like pick one where I was like, okay, if I get this one, I can use, like, I picked one that had lots of clothes on and like lots of different things that came with it. Because then I could use it for my other Barbies too. I'm like,
yeah, the bathing suit ones were kind of a ripoff.
A super ripoff.
Right?
Even
though they usually have the best hair.
They did usually have the best hair, but I got one it must have been a present for my birthday from a friend of mine where it was like a bikini or something with a little like Hawaiian skirt on. And I was like, this is lame. Like, what am I gonna, like, I've got I need clothes here, people. Like, get with it.
Okay, I have to just say, because your mom, she made Barbie clothing, didn't she?
I think she might have made some? I think she made a couple little things, yeah.
And I just wanted to state for the record, my dad made Barbie furniture for us.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it was usually just like little 2x4 slabs put together. And so like our couch, the Barbie could barely fit on it. Her bed, she could barely fit on it. But he, you know, was like, here, because we also I never had like the Barbie dream house.
No, me neither.
Right?
My sister, one year for my birthday, we got like a doll house from like a hand-me-down from somebody else.
Yeah.
And as a gift to me, she decorated it. She even put like little wallpaper up. Like she had old scraps. Like my mom and her kind of like they helped each other, and she built furniture. Like some was out of cardboard. There was like the bed was like a half of a Kleenex box. Like it was very creative, and it was amazing. I was like, this is
the Kleenex box, the unsung hero of Barbie imagination.
Oh my gosh,
it was our Barbie convertible. We just shoved them in,
it could
right?
be whatever you wanted it to be.
Yeah, thank you, Kleenex.
I used to build Barbie like houses or whatever out of like the end tables in the living room. Like my mom would come into the room and I'd have a whole like Barbie city happening built with just whatever. I'm like, this is this and this is her house and this is her apartment and whatever.
I'm just thinking back to my Barbies. They were up in apple trees and like hanging off of ropes randomly and like missing a foot, hair gone.
Yeah, I used to cut them all the time. And then we'd put those, the little knitting, or not the knitting, the pins in their ears for earrings. But then I would go all the way through their head and it'd stick you. And you're like, this one's got earrings and you've got to be real careful.
And then the classic, like using highlighter to give them lip gloss or even like eyeshadow.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, and I definitely cut a few of their hair. Only a couple though, and one actually was a pretty decent haircut. I was pretty impressed by it.
You know, yeah, I had one decent haircut too. I'm thinking it was this really chic bob. We had we got the same Barbie by accident, so we were like, oh, they're twins, but we need to do like Sweet Valley High, where one has like short hair, one has longer hair.
Sweet Valley High.
Sorry, we could talk about Barbie all day.
I know, seriously.
Remember, perverts.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm super happy that I didn't have, I mean, I wasn't happy about it at the time, but that I didn't have all of the like specialty Barbie stuff, because I really forced me to use my imagination. Like it really became, I could build a Barbie house anywhere I wanted.
I agree. Yeah. But I mean, I still could have used some shiny star print ball gowns.
I know, right? But then when you did get that kind of stuff, then it was like all the more special, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're adults. We can buy whatever Barbies we want or go buy the Lily doll. But we don't anymore. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so good. It doesn't surprise me that it's a bunch of perverts that made it. Like, it totally makes sense. Like, I get it now. And I totally get a bit more, like, why women are so, like, against the body positivity stuff. I'm like, okay,
and weirdly, I'm, like, more into it, where I'm like, yeah, no, come on. Like, she's so cute and fun, and the cartoon sounded hilarious, I have to say.
Yeah?
Where she was just, like, she sounded way more empowered than just, like, this bimbo. Yeah, it's actually pretty funny.
Damn it. That would be funny. I'm going to track that down. We should put a link in our Instagram or something for that. That would be
most
good.
of them are German, but like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can translate it.
No.
Google Translate just butchers it. Okay. Oh, my gosh.
Please laugh. Oh, my God. Don't surprise me like that.
Okay. That was amazing. I'm having a really hard time, like, having to follow it. But, okay. So, my topic... I came to it because I bought tickets to go see Eddie Izzard on Monday, this coming Monday. And I'm so excited because he is like one of my all-time favorite comedians ever. He is the best. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
That's okay.
She.
It's new, yeah.
So if you guys don't know who Eddie Izzard is, I highly recommend going and finding her stuff. Definitely, Dress to Kill is a great one to start with.
Yes.
That's like probably one of the most famous. Or even just on YouTube, look up like Death Star Canteen. Best thing you'll ever watch. It's so good. So historical and clever and smart, like really intellectual humor. Amazing.
Yeah.
So the first thing when I saw that she was on tour, I bought tickets, and then I immediately was like, for some reason, the one part of her, one of her like bits came into my mind was the part where she talks about the British going around and like stealing countries with the cunning use of flags.
Yes.
And so I am doing the origin of national flags. You didn't think that's where I was going with that, did you?
That's almost as like indirect as my parsley and...
But I even copied the whole thing because I was like, what does Eddie say about the flags thing? And it's like, we stole countries with the cunning use of flags. Yeah, just sail around the world and stick a flag in. I claim India for Britain. And they go, you can't claim us. We live here. 500 million of us. Do you have a flag? We don't need a bloody flag. It's our country, you bastards. No flag, no country. You can't have one. That's the rules that I've just made up. So that's the Eddie Izzard thing. Oh my gosh. It's one of the best like things ever. That's from Dress to Kill. So go watch it or give it a listen or whatever. Find it somewhere.
And there's like
highly
the
recommend
callbacks
it.
even to that joke.
Oh my God.
I have a flag.
I can't.
Okay, I'm loving this topic.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty in depth too, which is crazy, but
really?
So the sources for this are Wikipedia, Britannica.com, NewWorldEncyclopedia.org, and TheAtlantic.com.
Wait, I have 8 million zillion sources. You know what? Maybe on Instagram I can put them all down.
Okay.
Sorry. Lots of sources.
All the sources.
Internet. Go.
www.internet.com. Okay. So flags generally were first used, like the very first time that they were kind of used was by the ancient people that lived in what is now considered China. It is said that the founder of and I don't know how to say this and I didn't look it up, the Zhou ZHOU dynasty. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, anyway, this dynasty in China, and that dynasty was around from 1046 to 256 BCE.
Okay.
So the founder of that dynasty, he had a white flag carried before him. So that's kind of like the first indications of like, it was a flag and it was connected to the ruler of a country. Their flags had pictures of animals such as a red bird, a white tiger, or a blue dragon on them.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were carried on chariots and they were planted upon the walls of captured cities.
Oh.
They also had a royal flag that was identified with the ruler himself, and it was treated with similar respect as the ruler would be treated. So, like, it was almost seen as just as important as the ruler, like an extension of him.
What are those things called? We have them here too, the provincial, they're like, not crests, but like shields? No, what are they called? Remember the...
that's going to be coming up.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the coat of arms.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
So that didn't exist just yet, the coat of arms and stuff. Yeah. I mean, it might have a little bit, but not in the same way that it does. It comes out later. So it was even considered a crime at that time to even touch the flag bearer. So the person who's carrying the flag, it was like a crime. It became like such an important symbol of the guy that was founding the dynasty.
Really?
So the fall of the flag meant defeat, and the king would rarely expose the flag in the same place that he was in. So the flag would normally be entrusted to a general.
Oh, so it was like...
It was almost like him and the flag couldn't be in the same place at the same time in a way. Like, it wasn't like the king or the whatever guy, he wasn't walking around with the flag in his own hand. Because it was seen as such
Was it like just a symbolic stand-in for him then?
It sounds like it kind of was a little bit. It just became so symbolic of, like, I guess his stature. So if the flag fell, then it would mean that he was being defeated or whatever. Whoa. So that's ancient China area. And flags were also equally important in ancient India. The flag was the first object of attack in battle, and its fall would mean defeat, or at least cause confusion, if not full defeat.
I was going to guess that there were battle flags. There must have been.
And that's generally the reason, like, the very beginnings of flags was it was used for military purposes.
Right.
So the ancient Chinese and Indian flags can likely be traced back to the standards, which standards are like solid objects such as metal, animals attached atop poles, like at the very top of poles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the standards, can be traced back to the standards of ancient Egypt and Assyria.
Oh.
These poles sometimes had streamers attached to them, and it's thought that the concept of flags developed from these once they started producing silk in China.
Sorry. Just imagine a bunch of rhythmic gymnastics. Here comes the king, tra-la-la, twirl, twirl, twirl.
So what if it was? Oh my gosh. So initially flags were primarily used for military purposes. And this is just a random fun fact, is that the first instance of a white flag being used as a signal for a truce in like a battle was in 1542.
Really?
Yeah.
That's late.
I know, right? So in Europe, the first national flags were adopted in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. And many of the leaders at that time adopted the flag of their patron saint to represent their country.
Oh, okay.
Like, for example, in England, the cross of St. George was adopted in the 13th century. And, like, eventually, like, the Union Jack is one of the oldest ones that is, like, kind of still used, and it's just a bunch of like the different types of crosses that were for the different saints of the areas that became the United Kingdom. So like the Scottish area,
never
the
heard
Irish,
of that.
The British, and they were merged together to be the Union Jack.
Ugh, that must be one hated flag.
Loved and then hated, yeah. So toward the end of the Middle Ages, flags had become accepted symbols of countries, kings, organizations, cities, and guilds. They even talked about like some of the guild flags would be like like if you're a candle maker, like it would be very literal, where it's like 3 candles on the thing represented the guild of candle makers in this like town in France whatever. It was pretty cute.
And I just think of Terry Pratchett and all like the guild.
Oh, the Assassin's Guild. That's my favorite thing ever. Oh my gosh. If you guys haven't ever read a Terry Pratchett book, you need to go do it right now because it's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
So following the introduction of heraldry in the 12th and 13th centuries, so heraldry was like the use of symbols as identification, and typically it was connected to military things. So that's kind of where the coat of arms starts coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So heraldry originated when most people were illiterate, but they could easily recognize a bold, striking, and simple design to tell them like
Here's
what's going on. Hey, morons,
Crown.
read this. Read Crown.
We can't
I
read.
own you.
Oh, God.
It's just some guy, like some king, like stomping on a plebei's head on the flag. This is what's going to happen to you. You capiche?
Oh my God. Just little villagers with X's on their eyes.
Yeah.
And their pockets turned out with like flies coming out of their pockets.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So armor-clad knights whose faces were obscured with metal, they needed a way to display their identity on the battlefield.
They all have a flag.
Yeah, each individual one. Oh, it's
like
Bob.
Those on bikes when they'd have like little like the flag sticking out of the back of the bike.
At the back.
They have that on their horses. Don't kill me.
Yeah, coming through, and the horse beeps as it backs up. Beep, beep, beep.
But bikes don't beep.
But the little like scooters. That's what I was thinking. They
derailing.
No,
they should.
Okay, so their faces were obscured.
Who's backing up with a bike? Who's backing up on a bike?
I don't know. People. Shh.
I'm not letting you get off that easy.
Leave me alone.
Sorry, continue.
Okay, so their faces were obscured with metal. They needed a way to display their identity on the battlefield, and this led to them decorating banners, shields, and helmets. So this visual system... What?
No, it's just... I just imagine like this arts and crafts night where they're all like in the great hall decorating and like stitching and painting
their helmets.
Like I just imagine they're so excited and happy about it with their little like ales and like I'm sorry, it's just you can't with this topic.
Oh my god.
It's so cute.
Cute, they're just killing each other. This visual system eventually took on a broader social role as it indicated the class, rank, land, and hereditary titles held by nobility.
Oh.
So European royalty adopted coats of arms that became the basis of their flags. Like, this is the whole, like, beginning of it. So most of the coats of arms have disappeared from the modern national flags, but in some countries, their flags still have the original colors of the coat of arms.
Oh.
So Poland is one of those. Poland, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Hungary, Luxembourg, and Monaco are some examples that the colors that are in the flags are from the original colors of the coat of arms that first began that whole thing. Isn't that cool?
Oh, neat.
Yeah. The practice of flags indicating a country of origin outside of the context of warfare became common with the maritime flag in the early 17th century. So, like, that's quite a big stretch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Because we went from, like, what, the 1300s or whatever.
Yeah.
So vessels began to display flags depicting their country or city of origin, as well as their military or commercial statuses. In the centuries before radio, flags were the only effective way to communicate information across water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
that makes a lot
like
of sense.
now when I started going down the rabbit hole of like flags in like the maritime flags, there are so many rules and so much etiquette associated with the flags, like, I mean, with all flag use in general, but especially with flag used on ships, and it still exists to this day.
Really?
Yeah, like you can't like put them up in certain levels and certain heights, and you have to show certain flags, like even just like a yellow flag indicates that there's an illness on board or something like that, and there's
I'm such a dweeb, like I really want to like read all the rules.
I know, like a black flag obviously is like a pirate, is associated with the pirates.
That's rich of me to say. I don't even want to like get my driver's license. I did my learners begrudgingly. But I want to learn all of the maritime flag laws. I'll be like
Time
sailing.
well spent.
I can't drive, but I can sure sail. No, you can't. You can just hoist flags. Shut up.
As you crash into the land. Can you?
I break all the flag laws and I'm killed.
Yeah.
Get her.
So even like now, even with non-maritime flags, like with the national flags, it's, you can't, like there are rules about not putting a certain flag, like two flags on the same flag pole. If one is above the other, then it indicates that they have defeated that other country or that other thing.
Oh,
so
weird.
It's all about putting them at different things. And like, I mean, we have half-mast for people who like to respect the dead. All that kind of stuff. Like there's all these intricate little things that have come from this. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So the modern national flags were largely born out of an age of revolution. So the tricolor flag of the Netherlands is the oldest tricolor. So the Dutch flag is red, like red horizontal stripe, white horizontal, and blue. Red, white, blue.
Sorry.
Don't die.
I almost corrected you to say orange. I'm like, no, it's orange, white, and blue. What's wrong with you?
It started out as orange, actually.
What?
So it first appeared in 1572 as the prince's flag. So it started as the prince's flag, and it was orange, white, blue because it was the House of Orange is there. So orange is like a big Dutch color, right?
Yeah.
So for a while, they ended up having, like, when they were thinking about the national flag, they actually ended up having two different flags for a while. So one was orange, white, blue, and then one was red, white, blue. And the final decision for the red, white, and blue one to be their official one was actually made in 1937.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so cool, but I just love that.
So the flag, because it was like the
did they
prince's
say
flag,
why?
why they chose the red, white, and blue?
Yeah.
I didn't look into it. Sorry.
You failed. You failed me.
I know, right?
My flag goes above your flag.
Damn it.
Continue.
No. Defeat. The flag had been used in their really long war for independence from Spain. And so its colors became associated with the concepts of liberty and a republican form of government.
Oh.
Yeah, so it became very symbolic when it became their national thing. They were like, yes, we've got our independence. And it was very much like a unifying national thing.
Yeah.
And this is the only flag in the whole world that is adapted for some uses. So, for example, when an event is connected to the Royal House of the Netherlands, an orange ribbon is added onto the flag. It's the only flag in the world that people will change it during certain times. Yeah.
That's kind of genius.
Isn't that crazy? And I've seen that when I've been, because my family's from Holland, and when I've been there, I've seen that, like, where I'm like, oh, it's like on King's Day or whatever, they have flags that have orange on them. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that it's actually officially still the country's flag and should be treated the same way. It's just modified during those times.
Yeah, because you think with, like, the pretty strict, like, you can't deface or, like, ruin flags. You think, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Don't add something to it.
Like, oh, it's not a real thing. It's just whatever, Yeah.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy? So the association of liberty and a republican government was greatly reinforced by France's adoption of the same colors following the French Revolution in 1789. The newly independent United States used these colors for their flag as well. However, that's sometimes seen more as being based on its former affiliation with Britain and the colors of the Union Jack. But the flag was created after they gained their independence and gained, they're forming their own nation. So that was largely where a lot of these national flags really started coming in.
People are so, like, anti-nationalism sometimes, but then just hearing that that's the origin of people kind of almost celebrating, like, that liberty, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of nice.
Well, and the reason it became something important was because it was something that brought them all together, where they're like, you guys, we did it. Like, let's be in charge of our own lives. Let's be in charge of our own things. And this is our
and
stuff.
dominate
this is our
the rest
nation.
of the world.
Exactly. With our flag, cutting use of flags. So these new flags represented the nation as an umbrella over a collective citizenry, not just the power and right of a ruling family. So it was no longer just, this is the monarchy, or this is like this one family who had their coat of arms and their whatever. It was a symbolic thing of a nation.
Mm-hmm. Although with the UK, it would be like an imposed thing, right? Because it's not like Ireland was all like gung-ho about it, right?
Right.
Okay.
National flags were now streamlined symbols, easily recognizable and replicable. A sense of identity and a set of values could be invoked with a simple piece of cloth. So that's kind of just the general history of flags. And then I've got
Side note, sorry, I just love this topic so much. I wonder if there are like homemade versions of the flags like in museums, right? Like the early days.
There must be.
But because now they have standard measurements and everything, right?
Yeah.
But like back in...
There must be.
Sorry.
And I think they did have some talk about like how it's kind of evolved, like because at first, like way back in the medieval times, it was like more banner-like and stuff like that. And now it's that standard kind of rectangular, but not all of them have, like, I believe that Nepal has like, it's like 2 triangles,
Right.
2 little triangles, like, so not all of them have that standard shape and size, but most of them do. And it's largely because of textiles and the way that the textiles like
Right.
came out. So they just kind of standardized it based on that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the very general history of it. And then something else that was kind of fascinating to me is the history of the South African flag, because my husband Greg is from South Africa. So when I visited there, I kind of learned a bit about their flag, and their flag is really cool. It's got tons of colors in it, and it's new because it was created after apartheid ended in 1994.
Oh.
Yeah. So before apartheid ended in 1994, they had a flag. It's so funny, and I totally recommend people looking it up. Maybe we'll put it on our Instagram to show, like, their flag was just a mix of a few other flags, like the Dutch flag, the Union Jack, the flags of different areas like the Transvaal and the Orange Free State, which were areas in South Africa.
Yeah.
Because those were all the influences, right? Like the Dutch had ruled there for a while. The British had ruled, like they had all these different things. So they had all of these different kind of European influences represented on the flags, but they're not even mixed together kind of like the Union Jack is. They're literally just like I think it's like blue, white, and orange or something. And then in the center white part, there's literally just little miniature flags, like full flags, like kind of like stacked upon each other. It's so funny. And it's like so not anything anybody would want to look at. I'm like, so it's just flags like, within flags. Basically. Yes, exactly. It's just a scrapbook flag. It's so stupid. Yeah, it's crazy. So they had all of these like nationalities represented, but there wasn't anything on the flag to represent the majority of the population, which was the Black African people who had been there before, the colored people, which is a specific group of like mixed race people there, and the Indian inhabitants, which was huge. Like South Africa has the largest Indian population outside of India in the whole world. There's a huge population, Indian culture there. So in April of 1994, the new government revealed a new flag that represented all of the cultures that resided in South Africa. And the principal symbol, it's a Y shape with a bunch of different things, but different colors. And it symbolizes the converging of paths, so the merging history and present political realities into a common determination to create a united and prosperous future.
Ooh.
The new flag is unique in that it has 6 colors, and most other national flags have maybe like 3, 4. I think the maximum in other countries is 5 colors.
Yeah.
And the colors could technically be related to various groups of people. So like red, white, and blue for the English and the Dutch, like the Afrikaners. Green for Muslims, black, green, and yellow for the new like black ruling party there, the ANC. Right. But in contrast to most other national flags, they explicitly avoid any specific symbolic association for the colors. They specifically said, no, those aren't colors from these people.
Okay.
I think they more talked about like the colors just representing like different things. I should have looked up what they actually represent, but they said they're not meant to represent specific groups of people. They're meant to represent more like peace and whatever, exactly. Like that, those types of things.
Yeah. Really, they just couldn't agree on any of the colors.
They
have like 50 Pantone colors in there.
Yeah, exactly. Just all different shades of everything. I just thought that was such a good representation of like what the idea of like a national flag, because it's such a recent one that was created. And it was exactly that symbolic kind of national feeling of like, hey guys, we went through this and now we're changing, and the flag became this like symbolic thing for it.
I love, so, yeah, that they would actually change the flag. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they would change the flag, but they would change the flag.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know if they would change the flag. I mean, I don't know if they would change the flag. I mean, I don't know if they would change the flag. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, That's pretty bold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dang. I think more people should do that.
Well, and they thought, too, because the ANC, the party that Nelson Mandela was the leader of and that took over after apartheid ended, they had their own flag, which is like red. I think it's just stripes, or not red. It's black, green, and yellow. I don't know what order they're in. And I'm just thinking that it was just stripes, if I can remember, but I could be totally wrong about that. But so people thought that they would just implement their own flag as the new flag. But they didn't. They decided to create a whole brand new one that would encompass everything. I know. I just thought it was such a nice story. And so, like...
Meanwhile, we have the maple leaf on our flag, and I'm like, why?
Because we're Canada, eh? Why do you hate our flag? I love our flag.
A maple leaf.
It would be so
like
boring.
Kid did it.
No, it would be so boring if it was just like 3 lines of like colors.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, what flag would you want? What would you want it to look like?
Like, put a donut on it. Tim Biebs.
Tim Biebs, put Tim Biebs on it. Just Justin Bieber's face right on it with Celine Dion. For some reason, she's not relevant anymore. Oh my gosh. I like the Canada flag. I think it's cool. I mean, cool might be a bit of an overstatement, but...
It's just compared to everything else. Or maybe I'm just disappointed that other countries don't have... It just doesn't match. It's like, we went all, like, childish, like, literal with an actual image on it. And then most other countries are just, colors, like bars.
Right, but some of them, like, as I was looking stuff up, some of them are just crazy. Like... Some still have some of the coat of arms feeling to it, where they've got eagles and snakes and whatever, like all this
pretty
crazy
sure my
stuff
birth country
happening.
has an eagle on it, and I'm like, I should be quiet over here.
I just thought it was interesting because, like, growing up, being so close to the States, but like, because in America their flag is like super important to them. Like the American flag is everywhere and all over everything. And going and traveling down there, like you legitimately see it on people's, like, people hang it in front of their houses.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It was such a weird thing. And like here, we didn't do that with the Canada flag. Like we don't do it still. I mean, it's a little bit more prevalent now than it was before. Yeah. But we never really had it, and so
government schools will have like the classic flagpole, for the half-mast reasons.
Outside of Superstore, the gigantic ones, but that's pretty much all you would see.
That's true. Or during like Olympic stuff, sometimes people like, have their little like mini Canada
exactly
flags,
during like events or something like that. But like day to day life,
we just don't have it.
We didn't
or porches
hold
or
it
windows.
up as this big symbol of I don't know, our nation or whatever. And so that was always something so fascinating to me when I was growing up, thinking like, oh, are we just not proud of who we are because we don't have the Canadian flag everywhere at all times? We don't pledge allegiance to a flag in the morning, like the Americans have really, like, the flag is a huge symbol for them.
Yeah. I know. And I always have palpitations thinking, if I were a kid and I had to draw the American flag and draw all those stars, I'd lose it. So I have like total OCD when it comes to coloring and drawing. And if I had to draw that many stars...
Yeah, it's brutal.
Like, no. I mean, the maple leaf is already like anxiety provoking. The maple leaf is difficult,
but like it is kind of boring though to color it because you're like, I'm going to go through all my red. Like...
That's true. Although sometimes they let us have fun and we could do like kind of like rainbow colors or whatever.
Oh, I never had that.
Oh, really?
How dare you? How dare you bastardize our flag like that? You stupid little kid.
Look. Yeah. The worst is when I accidentally did like orange.
You accidentally did orange?
Yeah. Because I thought it was a red crayon, but it was orange. Oh. When like wax crayons...
You're special.
Listen. My microphone almost went flying. No, like, when wax crayons, they look like a different color.
I hate
color
that.
And you're like,
It's the worst.
It's a
and
problem.
you're like, the outside of this looks great. I love that color.
Right?
And then it doesn't color that way. Bastards.
I know.
But damn it. Okay.
Is that it?
That was it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I want more information.
No.
I love that topic. Although,
Oh my
boy,
gosh,
did I yammer.
no way, man. Mine's like so. I'm still stuck on the Barbie stuff. I can't even handle it. That was so good. I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm still on the edge of my seat.
No, but yeah, like, and not that it's a competition. It's not. It's just I love that like yours right away. I'm like obsessed with everything. I want to learn all the flags. That's what I'm going to go learn all the flags, and also see if there are any like homemade flags somewhere online.
Yeah. I'm going to go play with Barbies and try to forget that a bunch of perverts made them. Because I love Barbies. Damn
Deal.
it. I want to go find, no, actually, I'm going to go find a Lily doll. That's what I
Yes.
want. And then I'm going to
Yes.
go like send a whole bunch of money to that guy that invented it. And then
He's a
house her too.
bazillionaire. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the guy that wrote the cartoon is a bazillionaire?
Oh, actually, I don't know. No,
Yeah,
I
what
don't know
happened to
about.
that guy?
They sort of just kind of, I think,
He just like
they had to
drank himself
stop
to death.
printing the Lily stuff, I think, in 1961 because Mattel was like,
A bunch of
all
bastards.
their stuff.
So they
Yeah.
take away like something that's even fun and cool.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll go find that cartoon and translate it with Google Translate. That was great. Okay.
Until
talk to you
next
guys
week.
Next week. Bye.
Bye.